Hi everyone! Today we're going to show you the Stringr package. This package in RStudio is a useful tool when manipulating strings and vectors of strings. We will demonstrate some of the most applicable functions within this package.
One of such functions is the case functions. The Stringr package has the ability to alter the string's letter casing. String to lower converts a given string to lowercase. String to upper converts the inputted string to uppercase. String to title converts the inputted string into title format, as you can see with the first letters of each word in the string being capitalized.
Next is the str_c function. This function joins multiple strings into a single string. In our example vector, we have a number of different strings. To convert example into a single string, use the collapse argument as shown. If you want the strings within the example vector to be separated by a space, use the collapse argument with a space as the input. Whatever you want the strings to be separated, you put in the collapse equals argument. You can also tack on other strings or vectors onto our example vector. We separate the example string with the tacked on vector by using the sep argument with a space as the input.
The strCount function counts the number of matches within a string. In this function, the user inputs a string and a pattern equal to a string input. Whatever is put past the equals is what the function will look for in the inputted string. This works the same for vectors. When we input the example vector, the strCount function counts the number of patterns in each string within the example.
The strExtract function. In this function, the user inputs a string and a pattern. There are two different methods in this function. strExtract takes a string or vector strings and a pattern equals something. It looks for this pattern equals part within the string or in each of the strings in this vector. And if not found, returns NA, and if found, returns the found pattern. Note that the input is in a vector format. strExtractAll takes a string or vector of strings in a pattern. This function is useful because it will detect if there are more than one matches in the string. The output is somewhat messy. However, the user can input simplify equals true, and it will output a matrix that is much more user-friendly. Note, this is case sensitive.
The function strLength takes a string or a vector of strings and outputs the length of a string or each string in a vector. strMatch function extracts matched groups from the two inputted vectors, as you can see right here. In our example, we have a vector phone that has 7 phone numbers and a string phone number. The function takes these two input parameters and compares them, outputting the match in the case of no match, outputs a NA in matrix format. This function is able to extract parts of a string as well.
The strsort and strorder functions sort a character vector. This function sorts the inputted vector of strings from A to Z by default. It inputs a single vector with the original positions of the strings in their new alphabetically sorted positions. For example, 10 was in the last position of the vector, but after being sorted is now in the first position. strsort is very similar to strorder. However, this function returns the vector alphabetically sorted with each string in the vector on a separate line.
The strReplace function replaces a string with an inputted string. The user inputs a string vector, the string that we want to replace, and the string that we want to replace the original with. This function stops its replacement after finding the first match of the string we want to replace. The output is all the strings in the vectors with the updated replaced string. strReplaceAll function is identical to strReplace, however, it replaces all instances of the string we want to replace and outputs the updated vector with the replaced strings.
And finally, strSplit. This function splits an inputted string into pieces. In our example, we are splitting by non-numbers. The output is a matrix with each separated part. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.